Lust ruins everything, and I think so many young men are struggling with it nowadays, and I truly believe it's ruining young men's lives because lust brings no good. Lust only brings negative to young men and people in general, and it's almost like a poison. You can have a beautiful thing, right? Maybe it's a beautiful relationship or something that's, truly beautiful, but then lust can just come and just ruin it all. So you have to be careful of lust because lust would ruin everything. It ruins everything good, man. It truly does. So you have to embrace love, man. You have to reject lust, and you have to embrace love, especially as a young man. We live in a generation that's full of lust, that's full of degeneracy, and I think it's easy to get caught into. It's easy to fall victim to the trap of lust, to the trap of hookup culture, corn, all these things, because it feels so good in the moment. In the moment, it feels like everything you've ever wanted, everything you've ever desired, right? It's like a dream come true. It just feels so good to the eyes. It feels so good to the now. But then when you give in, you feel bad. You feel regretful, and you feel this sense of like numbness and just disgust at your human nature almost. So I think it is extremely important to not give in to lust. I think it's extremely important to be a man of God, to embrace God. Because I think it's being pushed upon men, We have this society. People are making a lot of money off of it. Because what is it? What is corn? What is porn? All these things. It's a drug, right? So they're making tons of money off of it. And they're profiting off people. So you you got to understand it's there, right? It's there to consume you. It's so addictive, bro. Because I struggled with it for a long time. It was, probably I guess, I don't know if I had an addiction, but I wanted to stop and I couldn't stop. So if that counts as one, then it was. But it was the one, like, vice I had, which was just impossible it was so hard, man. It was so hard to stop doing. And I wanted to stop so badly because I really hated it. Every time I gave in, I felt regretful. I felt bad. I felt guilty. And I felt disgust in myself. And, if you're watching this video, you might relate. You might feel the same way I felt. And I just want to say I know how it feels, man. It feels horrible. But you don't have to feel that way. Because you truly can defeat lust. And I know some of the biggest things I think help defeat lust. The first one's purpose, Once you find your purpose, and once you become a man of purpose, it's really easy not to give into lust. A lot of people, the reason why they struggle with lust, why they can't stop giving in, it's because they don't have a purpose. They're drifting through life with no end goal, right? They're not waking up with a fire inside. So many men nowadays, they're, doing what I'm doing right now, playing video games all day, stuff like that. It's scrolling. They have no purpose, you know what I mean? And the problem with that is, when you don't have a purpose, you're just drifting through life. And one thing I noticed that helped me a lot with any bad habit, especially corn, was when I found this purpose, was when I had something that was, just giving me so much fire inside that made me feel amazing. It was actually easy not to give in. So you need to find your purpose. You need to start being a man of purpose. And what is purpose? I'll give you an example. When I was a freshman in high school, I used to struggle, with watching corn, low self-esteem, stuff like that. And, I was watching this stuff. I felt disgust, I kind of hated myself-ish because, I don't know, I just didn't like myself very much, And I got introduced to self-improvement, Hamza, Andrew Tate, all of this stuff. And it was almost like this, like, safe haven for me where it was, I can change my life. I can become better. And I got super addicted to it. Especially the gym. I got so addicted to the gym because I think the reason why I got so addicted to the gym was because it was an escape. I was able to do it, and I could finally kind of see change in my life, and I felt happy knowing I was doing something that was good for me. So I got addicted to that. It's all I cared about. It was my purpose. It was a fire inside. It was all I thought about. It was all I cared about. It was all I ever did. That year, freshman year, all I cared about was the gym. I was failing classes. I wasn't doing well in school, it's because all that was on my mind was my purpose. It was going to the gym, it was eating this super crazy clean diet. And my diet was crazy, bro. It was late for breakfast. I would just have like egg whites unseasoned, like oats unseasoned, and then for lunch I would have chicken like unseasoned sitting in my bag. I remember sometimes the chicken juice would leak in my bag. My bag smelled like shit. It was pretty disgusting, but it was a turning point for my life. It showed me that you can like kind of you can create your own destiny, and that was my purpose for a minute. To get back to the point, that was my purpose. And when I had that purpose, from freshman year to from like February freshman year to November, beginning of my sophomore year, I never watched porn, didn't give into lust, anything like that. And one thing I noticed from that was I had this like almost, I guess you could say, childlike purity. I felt so much joy in life. I felt that, I'll say it again, that childlike joy. And I believe the reason for that was because I wasn't giving into lust. And then what happened, the reason why I think for the first time I ever relapsed was, it was November of that year. It was interesting. I started talking to this girl. We kind of got on like a talking stage, relationship, this stuff. And the reason why that ended is why I just wasn't like lustful. She wanted to do these lustful things, and I didn't have a drive for them. You know what I mean? And that caused a lot of friction. It caused a lot of it caused things to go downhill. So that happened, and there were weird instances. You know what I mean? You know how it is. And girls, they feel rejected because like they try to make a move, and like, oh, he doesn't want to lust, and it's a weird dynamic. But that happened, and then after we stopped talking, I don't know what happened. Maybe some sort of habit, cue, something that triggered my brain. I remember I watched it, and I got back into the cycle. And so that happened. Then my sophomore year was, what was my sophomore? My sophomore year was pretty unlocked. In high school, it was just I was watching porn. I was eating pretty shitty foods. And I was going to the gym though, and I thought, oh, me going to the gym, that means I'm on self-improvement. But it really doesn't. If you're on self-improvement, you have to be improving, mentally, physically, financially, spiritually. You can't just get caught up in one thing and think you're good. That's just not the way it works. But yeah, it was pretty unlocked. Junior year, I stepped in my game, got back into it, entrepreneurship, posting TikToks, doing what I love. Now I'm a senior, and I really have changed my life, man. I really have changed my life. And sometimes I still struggle with lust. Sometimes I would say you get lonely, and you can often mistake love for lust, right? You can often mistake connection with desire. You can often mistake these things. You think you want connection, right? It's all humans want that. We all want connection, but we often mistake that connection for desire, and that's the issue. We think, oh, getting with that girl is going to make us feel more loved. It never does, bro. It really never does. So it really doesn't. We all know that. So I still struggle with that. I've gotten a lot better. But I still need to be better. I still need to be a better man. And I often wish I was a better man. I often do. Because lust really does ruin everything, bro. It'll ruin everything you have. It'll turn a beautiful relationship. It'll turn it sour, a sweet relationship sour. It's like poison. Imagine you have a flower. A flower's blooming. It's beautiful. And then it's like you're like literally poisoning the flower. So you just have to reject lust. Because it's truly just poison, bro. It's truly poison. And I don't know. A lot of it's just kind of... Another thing that'll help you is kind of just focus on being present. One thing I've noticed, I don't know, a lot of you guys don't do social media, so you kind of won't understand this, but when you do social media, so when I first started social media, I think I started in about August of whatever, last year, not 2025, 2024. I got serious about it probably like June of last year. And then, but what happens with social media is when you're small and you first start growing your account, right? You're doing it because you love it. It's super purposeful. But then once you start getting followers and you start growing, what happens is your content, it starts to almost like change in a way, because you realize that in order to grow, keep growing on social media and obtain and keep this sort of whatever you call it, you want to keep getting followers, stuff like that. Oh, there we go. You have to act a certain way. You have to be a certain way, right? So this looks nice house. But you have to act. You have to be a certain way, right? And what happened, what I noticed is, eventually, like in January, some of the videos I was posting, I didn't really enjoy, and I could feel that. I wasn't feeling like that purpose I felt when I used to post. Oh, it's getting that outside, very nice. I wasn't feeling that purpose I felt because I was kind of like posting videos more like, oh, how can I gain followers? How can I, like, what's like the way to gain followers? And maybe that's good to be a good creator, but you don't feel as happy. So what I've been doing, especially in the past, like maybe like 2-3 weeks, is posting videos I like, that kind of get like my artistic side out, that I feel happy posting, I feel purposeful posting. And that helps a lot too. You got to find your joy, your childlike self. Another one is just being present, bro. Also, what I've done, the reason why I brought that up is because I kind of changed my schedule a little bit. I was like so work focused, so work. I kind of got a little off my game, right? Because I was so focused on work. I wasn't on like the true self improvement I'm normally on. So I started to like really practice mindfulness. I went to like an art museum, just to get like my artistic abilities up. Now I kind of changed my schedule a little bit. So I wake up and I'll go outside. If the sun's out, great. If not, I'll maybe sit inside. But I'll sit outside in the sun. I'll read books. I'll do breath work. I'll do some stretching, and I noticed it helps me a lot. One book I read that was so great was, I don't know if anyone's read it. It's called The Alchemist. It is a great book, bro. It is a great book, and it's one of my favorite books. I read a lot of books, and I don't know why. Something about that book I couldn't stop reading. It was such a good book. But I mean, you have to practice this stuff. Be a kid. Because think about it. Do kids, like, it's not, what I mean? Do kids fall into lust? No. Why? Because they're pure, bro. I don't know. A lot of people nowadays got over-sexualized minds, dude. The reason why the kids don't give into lust is because they're pure-hearted. So you have to kind of find that childlike energy. And you have to go back to being pure-hearted. That's really it. You have to be pure-hearted. Because when you're pure-hearted, you're not going to give into lust. When you're pure-hearted, you're not going to be lustful, right? You're gonna be like a kid. You're gonna enjoy life. You're gonna be happy. You're gonna be pure. Relationships are gonna be pure. All these things. What am I looking for? Art. I don't know what I'm looking for. But yeah, it's pure. It's the childlike state. There's a reason why when you were a child, you were so happy and you were so pure and life just felt so amazing and fulfilling. It's because you were a kid, man. Don't be scared to go back to that kid state. Don't be scared to be, creative like a kid, right? A kid, they don't know anything about the world. They ask their parents, oh, why is this way? And almost that stuff damages creativity. Be creative like a kid. Ask questions, why is this way? Maybe the reasons, things I was told aren't true, and this is this way because of something else. Never lose your curiosity, bro. It's really what makes you you, man. Never lose your curiosity, bro. It's the one thing you have, man. Never lose it. I don't know. So many people, waste their life because of things like, like lust. This video's on lust, but it's also about just life, man. So many people waste their life. So many different things. They're scared of others. That was a big one, too. My fear of others, because when I first started posting on social media, this happens with anything, right? You use something new. You get made fun of, you get laughed at, people, act like you're like they treat you poorly, and that's kind of just the way it is, you kind of have to let it be that way, because there's nothing, I don't know how, like, it's just what happens, right? You get made fun of when you start stuff. When I first started on social media, people laughed at me, people thought it was some joke, right? I mean, it makes sense, right? It's what you have to just accept that your videos are kind of cringe at first, because people all they care about is social approval, right? If you have tons of followers, you're the coolest guy in the world, but if you don't, it's like, who cares? So you kind of have to go past that stage when you try anything new. It's always worth it, right? Being a beginner, there's beauty in that. there's beauty in being a beginner. You know, it's your first time going to the gym. There's beauty in you being the beginner. It's your first time trying something new, whether it's fighting or a different sport. There's beauty in you not being the best at it right away. So you have to enjoy, and you have to realize that's beautiful. You don't have to act like you have to be the best instantly. There's almost art in that. Like, okay, you're trying something. I remember there was a time in my life where kept trying to try new stuff, right? I started doing jiu-jitsu, MMA, and doing jiu-jitsu MMA kind of taught me, like, it's good to be a beginner, right? Because, of course, areas of my life I'm going to feel good at, right? Like social media, for example, I feel like good. But when you go in a different field where you're a beginner, it's good for your mind. It helps you stay humble. And you got to stay humble. You have to. That's why I try to respond to all my DMs. And I try to because I really do appreciate it, bro. All the support I get. Stuff like that. It really does mean a lot. But you have to stay humble. I don't know, you can't let lust. Just don't let lust destroy you, bro. You're more than lust. And lust is definitely hard. We all battle. We all battle with it. We all battle with it in different ways, different times. That could have been bad. But yeah, we all battle with it different ways, different times. Maybe they battle with it by watching porn. The other person battles with it by getting girls. I know so many people, and they all have different ways. But don't shame yourself for it, bro. You really can't shame yourself for it, because shame just makes it worse. You'll get stuck in that cycle even more. So don't shame yourself, And if you're watching this video, I don't know. This is just like a yap video. I never play Minecraft. This is the first time I've ever played a video game in maybe a year or two. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hop on this, film a video, because it's kind of chill. It gets you in like a nice little flow. You know what I mean? So like, let's try it. Let's chill. Wrong color. But I don't know, if you're watching this video, please find your purpose, bro. I'm telling you, man, you're not gonna most people, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I can never imagine myself doing the normal path, working a job for someone else, living a life for someone else, right? I want to live my own life. I want it to be great and create my own story. Maybe you relate to this. And I never knew if it was possible, bro. I never knew if, making money online, building a social media presence, like being able to help people was possible. Until now, recently, I realized that you really can become whoever you want to be. And there are times where I dreamed of the life I'm living now. So, I don't know. You kind of got to, I don't know. If you're watching this video, bro, just live out your dreams, dude. There's no reason not to. You have one life. We're all going to die. Live for God. Live for your dreams. Because that's the only way you're ever going to be happy, bro. It's the only way you're going to be happy. Another, speaking of lust, so many guys, they give into lust because they're living for other people. Their lives are for other people. They do certain things for other people, so don't do things for other people. Do things for yourself, bro. Do what you love doing, okay? If you're passionate about social media, do social media. If you're passionate about entrepreneurship, be an entrepreneur. If you're passionate about this or that, be that, bro. And don't let anyone tell you you can't be that. Do these candles go out, bro? Like, what is this? Don't let anyone tell you that you can't be something, because you can be whatever you want. And that's the beauty of the world, bro. Like, I'm in a video game right now, but look, you got the whole life to explore, bro. Explore your life, do what you want to do, because there's endless possibilities, and the world's this beautiful thing. So don't make it something it shouldn't be. Don't make it something that, I suffer. You don't have to suffer. The goal is to be at flow. The goal is to be happy. So in the end, if you want to defeat lust, be happy, bro. Happiness is the key to defeating lust in a way. And by being happy, you gotta love yourself. You gotta find your purpose. You gotta be a kid, bro. Like, be a kid, bro. Enjoy your life, bro. That's why I hopped on Minecraft today. Because I think we all need to be kids. We all need to go back to our childlike joy. That's really it. God bless.